crossing fields afar. Will you walk beside me? Will you lead the way? Footsteps by the fountain carry me away. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. Somewhere along the way, how will I ever forget the Spanish sunrise, the Spanish sunset? El Peregrino Cantante, the fullness of the moon, pressed beneath the arches, the sunflowers in bloom. Words on parchment paper, fill an empty room. I hope this blessing, such as it is, finds you in full bloom. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. Somewhere along the way. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. Somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way, somewhere along the way.
I was out greeting. Oh, well. Let's see. Okay. Got my bearings now. First of all, welcome to everyone. My name is Ken Claiborne, and I'm a member of the board of this congregation. Welcome to all of you. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. If you'd like to learn more about this fellowship, please look at our website. It's a new website, uufe.org, and join us after the service for coffee hour. For the listening enjoyment of all, we ask that at this time that you turn off your cell phones and or pagers. I can't believe anyone would be carrying a pager, but hey. Also, if you need hearing support, please ask for help at the sound desk in the back corner. Thank you very much.
It's great to see you all today, and welcome back, Miles. I'm filling in for Judy Darnell, who is indeed here today, but wasn't expecting to be. So I'm still doing fellowship life, and then the kids will be going off with Taylor afterwards. Mike and Judy Darnell will be hosting a movie night at 7 p.m. Thursday, March 2nd. They will show The Private War of Harry Frigg. a Paul Newman movie, in which he plays an army private who is sent to Italy to free a number of high-ranking officers who have not been able to escape their prisoner of war camp. Feel free to bring snacks. Our special congregational meeting is next week, immediately following the service. We will vote on the proposed changes of our bylaws. Our attendance last week was 53 adults and children in person and on Zoom. And thank you to the Congregationalists for boosting our numbers. So on with the adventure.
We ring the gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us, once for those who are here now, and once for those who will come after us and build on the dream. Today's chalice words are brought to you by, or written by, Mary Dunbar. We are each gifted in a unique and important way. It is our privilege and our adventure to discover our own special light. Please join me in reciting the Unison Covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
That's okay. I was going to do it.
This is her first time. I think that's great.
Yes, absolutely. That's good. All right. We will sing all 5 verses. There's 5 verses of the sing. So stand if you're willing and able. Number 298.
I had written a long introduction for this moment, but we've all heard so much in the last 12 months. And as we have marked this past week the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of the nation of Ukraine, we stand in solidarity with the people who are experiencing the terror, heartbreak, and devastation of war in their own backyards. We hold in our hearts the people of Ukraine as they stand in danger. Conscious that thousands are being uprooted, we pray for those who seek refuge, that they might find welcome and bridges to sanctuary. We hold in our hearts also those people of Russia experiencing their own conflict. May we be mindful of ways in which we may encourage a peaceful world, and may those in power be guided by wisdom and humility. We ask for peace for all those who need peace, reconciliation for those who need reconciliation, healing for all those who need healing, and comfort and hope for all who don't know what tomorrow will bring. Amen, and blessed be. Most Sundays we share our offering with an organization that shares our values. Today we will be giving half of our loose offering to the Humane Society of Elkhart County. May we be mindful of all that we have been given, and therefore always be grateful. Let us in turn give thanks that we are able to give. Our morning offering will now be taken. I had also planned a long introduction for our speaker today, for there is much and wonderful about him. But one of the themes of the Camino is simplicity, so I shortened it. I first met my friend Tom Labuzienski at WVPE, where he is the full-time program director. He also teaches a class at the Forever Learning Institute about the Camino de Santiago, coaches a girls' high school soccer team, and spends quality time with all of his 4 children, in addition to leading Camino walks locally. He makes nearly annual pilgrimages on the Camino, and because his life was so empty and dull, he undertook studies to become a deacon in the Catholic Church and was ordained January 6th. It's a joy to have Tom with us today, and he will begin right after this video.
Okay, I'll talk to the microphone here. Janelle, I don't have to stand on the stool. You're doing. All right. Well,
first of all, I want to thank Janelle for inviting me here and for all of you giving me such a warm reception this morning. Janelle's been a longtime friend, very generous to the station, and I know she's very involved with this fellowship, and very much appreciate your friendship, Janelle. I also want to thank my daughter and son-in-law for coming here today. And also a good friend of mine from the radio station, Michael, came this morning. So thank you guys, and thank you for your support and your friendship. So, this morning when I got here, some people asked me about the Camino, and they says, oh, you're Catholic, right? So that's a Catholic thing. So right off the bat, I got to say that hearing your reflection at the very beginning and the song that we heard, this seems to be more of the Camino seems to be more of a universalist, Unitarian type of a thing. It's people from all over the world, and I mean literally all over the world. You can be at dinner with people you met on the Camino that day, and they could be from all the continents of the world, and somehow everybody speaks the same language, is there for one purpose. So talk about that purpose. That's what today's reflection is about, and the title of it is, Why Am I Here? Now, it depends on how you say that, why am I here? Is it, why am I here? Or is it, why am I here? Or is it, why am I here? Right? I mean, you could look at it different ways. So just, how do you look at that question, why am I here? How many of you think I'm asking about why are you here today in this room? Part of it is here, yeah. And if you were, and I know that everybody was, when they came in, they were talking, and I don't know if you paid attention to the video that was at the beginning. It was a guy named Dan Mullins from, of all places, Sydney, Australia, who wrote the song for the Camino. And it was somewhere along the way, I hope you find what you're looking for. And so I hope you find what you're looking for. If you're coming here looking for something, if you in your daily lives are looking for something, think about what you're looking for. And it's my hope that you find what you're looking for. So, are you looking for inspiration? Are you looking for friendship? Are you looking for enlightenment? Why are you here on this earth looking for your life? What are you doing with your life? And this isn't to challenge you, this is just so that we think about that in our daily lives of what are we doing with our lives. This morning, did you wake alive and with wonder, appreciation, and attention? Mary, I see you nodding. You woke up feeling that way. Yeah. Did you stop and be grateful to wake up and to be alive this morning? Thought to what you could do something good today. What good do you want to do today? When you got ready this morning, did you just stop and look in the mirror at yourself and say, hey, that's a pretty good looking person there. You're going to have a good day, you know? And thank you for being me, you know? Did you stop and have a meaningful conversation with your special someone? Stop and look at the sky and the bare trees. You know, there weren't any clouds out this morning. And just walking outside, I took a little walk in the neighborhood, and it was a beautiful thing. There was no clouds, but there were these like it was the mist or fog that was like rising, and it was like low clouds, but it was real thin, and were moving really fast and low. So I think it was like, it would have been fog if it was lower, and it was moving from south to north. Did you look that the snow that was on the grass yesterday is gone this morning? Did you notice that there were, during the ceremony that started, that there were these little squirrels playing around out here? You know? Did you notice yourself breathing? Do you notice yourself breathing right now? It's just paying attention to just the here and the now. Let's just take a deep breath right now and feel alive. You are alive. Pay attention to the way things are just now. Be conscious. You know, we have many distractions in our lives. We get into routines, and we just go through oftentimes the same routines day in and day out. And these routines are good because they make us very efficient. They make us feel safe. But there's also a cost to these routines, and that is you become sometimes mind-numbing with the routines. We strive to control our lives, and sometimes we even strive to control the lives of others. We close ourselves off to spontaneity. So how do we become more aware of the here and the now? How do we contemplate why we are here? We take time. We try to break through some of these routines. And so that's my suggestion, is you don't have to go to the Camino in Spain to get some of those benefits. You can do that right here. Maybe you just go for a walk. Maybe you walk alone. Or maybe you walk with someone special and have a good talk. I know sometimes some of my best talks are when I'm walking with somebody that's special to me. Liz and Josh, thank you for walking with me yesterday. It was a beautiful afternoon. And Josh and Liz, my daughter Liz there, we walked at St. Pat's Park for over an hour, and we had a great talk, didn't we? It was fun. It was fun. And we felt, I think, alive and connected with each other. And I encourage you to reach out to someone and connect with them on a walk. But then also take some time to walk by yourself, to reflect on your life. It's a great thing. Walk is good physically. It lowers your blood pressure. It strengthens your heart and your bones. It improves circulation. It improves sleeping. And walking, Janelle, you can testify to this, walking is good for you mentally. It decreases stress. It improves mood, makes you more optimistic, creates a lot of good things. You can sleep better. It makes you happier, I believe. We can all walk more. We can walk farther away from an entrance. For example, when I came here this morning, there weren't any cars, I don't think, in the parking lot, so I took the farthest spot, and so I sort of did my Camino here this morning, and I got to hear the birds singing and stuff like that instead of just parking here at the closest spot. I thought, okay, yeah, I got to hear that. I got to look at the sky here in Elkhart. We can walk at local parks. We can walk in our neighborhoods. So, you know, the underlying topic of today's reflection is the Camino. So what is the Camino? Well, it's a walk. It's a walk that started before Jesus. Many people don't know this, that there were pagans in the Iberian Peninsula of Spain and Portugal, and also over Europe, and they thought, okay, if I want to start, I'm not happy with my life, I want to start a new life. What do I do? Where do I go? And so they decided that they would walk to the end of the earth. Where was the end of the earth for these pagans before Jesus? It was, they believed, at the end of Spain where the sun went down over the Atlantic Ocean. And there's a place called Finisterre. In fact, in that video that was shown at the very beginning of today's talk, it showed Finisterre. There's a lighthouse there, and the man was there at the ocean's edge. And at that very spot, pagan pilgrims before Jesus would walk there from home, and it wasn't an easy thing to travel these great distances back then. And then they took off all their clothes and went into the ocean naked to wash away the bad in their lives. It was sort of like a baptism, sort of. It was a cleansing. And back then, in fact, it's only, I think, recently in the past few centuries that people thought that taking showers and washing was a good thing. Before that, people thought, oh, you don't want to, get rid of the oils on your skin and stuff like that. And so they didn't wash, anyway. So this was a big thing. This was a big thing for them. Oh, thinking about that, you saw that big device that was swinging in the cathedral, and it was smoking. It's filled with incense. And when you get to Santiago, they do that. I guess it's been over the years that the pilgrims would come in walking across Spain, and the smoke covered up the smell of the pilgrims that had just walked across Spain. So, getting back to, do we close ourselves off to spontaneity? How do we contemplate the here and now? How do we take more time and things like that? And we can do that with a Camino, or we can do it with a Camino here. Somebody else was saying, well, I couldn't walk, across Spain, but you can walk here. There, if you Google it, there's a Camino video called Phil's Camino. Phil lives in the state of Washington, and Phil had stage 4 cancer, and his doctor said, you can't get away from chemotherapy to be able to go over to Spain and walk the Camino. He says, that's the one thing I want to do, is walk the Camino. And so he had a big backyard, and Lee, sort of like your backyard, you could walk in the parking lot, and he had a 1/4-mile trail that he would do in his backyard, and he would walk it. He would walk with his cancer doctors, he would walk with his nurses, he would walk with his family, friends, he would walk with his dog, and he kept track on his computer how far he walked, and then he would make believe that he was there on the Camino. Oh, if I walked 5 miles today, I'm here. And then he looked at the pictures of where that was, and he did the whole Camino in his backyard. Eventually, he was able to get off chemotherapy, and then he went on the Camino. I've been teaching a course on the Camino at Forever Learning. It's a great place if you're looking to take some courses, but you gotta be, I think, 50 or 55 to get in there. And I've been teaching this class twice a year. So the normal talks about the Camino, it's 10 weeks for an hour and a half each session. So I talk about the Camino for 15 hours in a class, and now I have to talk about it for 15 minutes here. So, I promise this isn't a membership drive talk like on WVPE when I do that. It's not a talking to the girls that I coach in soccer, okay, we got to go win this one, or it's not a deacon talk talking about scripture and so forth that I just did a few days ago. This is just talking to you and sharing this experience, and I hope that you will put some of these ideas to enrich your lives and to enlighten your lives. Okay. You know, people would walk 2,000 miles to this place called Finisterre, to the end of the land, and fin means finish, terre means land, so it's the end of land. And Santiago de Compostela is the name of the town that everybody walks to. Santiago, Sant is saint, Iago means James. That's how they get that, you know, it's the translation. Iago is James. De Compostela. Well, who was this guy named St. James? Some people think that it was John and James were Jesus' cousins. And when Jesus said, go out to the ends of the earth preaching the gospel, James said, whatever Jesus says, you know, I'm doing it. And so he went off, where's the end of the earth? And somebody said, oh, it's in Spain. You got to go there. And so he said, okay, I'm going, you know. And so he went there for a while. He made a big mistake, though, and he went back to Jerusalem, and King Herod didn't like James, and so he had James beheaded, and then they took his body back to Spain to bury him. And then there were several miracles, they believe, that happened along the way with St. James. But then they lost his remains for a few centuries, and then there was this hermit in Spain, right near Santiago, and he saw these stars that were all over this area, and they came and there were miracles, and they said, oh yeah, there were stones that were found with engraving on them, and this has to be St. James. And then they built a church and then a cathedral, and then people started doing pilgrimages there. And the Compostela means the field of stars. James, yeah, he was the first martyr. I should tell you that. And there have been millions of people that have walked the Camino. Just last year alone, coming out of COVID, there were 420,000 people that walked the Camino. And there's dozens of routes. Somebody says, oh, I can't walk that far. There's dozens of routes. There's 80,000 kilometers of Camino in Europe. And you walk on the Camino and you ask somebody, well, where'd you start? And they look at you and say, I walked out my front door. But then you ask them, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Holland. I'm from Italy. I'm from France. I'm from Russia. And they walked out their front doors. You can do it for like $20 or $30 a day, but you can also do it here. In that class that I was telling you about, there was one lady that was the most excited about doing the Camino. And she's the one that asked all the questions. And in May, she says, oh, I just can't wait to go on the Camino. And then in June, I asked her, how's the Camino plan going? And she cried, and she said, Tom, I've been diagnosed with a brain tumor. In August, she died, and I went to the wake and the visitation, and her daughter said that, she said, Tom, I want you to know that my mother said one day, God, you can't let me die yet before I do the Camino. And so her daughter then later did the Camino on her own. And we also have had at least a half a dozen people that have walked the Camino with cancer. And it's been very meaningful to them. They can do it also like Phil did in his backyard. Age, what's age got to do with it? There have been many, because this is a forever learning class. I can't count the number of octogenarians that did it. One lady did it her 6th Camino, and it was on her for her 80th birthday, and she took 5 octogenarians with her because she didn't want to be alone. So it's a real simple experience, as Janelle was saying. You just take maybe a couple changes of clothes, a raincoat, some personal items, a coat, a hat, maybe all of weighing maybe 15 or 20 pounds. meeting people from all over the world. It broadens your perspectives. And it's just slow walking. You let go of control. You get up in the morning and you just follow the arrows. You don't even have to turn on your cell phone. Just walk out, follow the arrows, and the arrows will point you in the right direction. If you get off the route, people know with your backpack and you look a little strange, this isn't the Camino. They'll walk you back to the Camino. Some of the friendliest people in the world. I can tell you the benefits that I've gotten out of the Camino. And I hope that either by walking your own Camino in your neighborhood, taking those reflections, or maybe even doing it on your own. People can walk the Camino if they want to walk 5 miles a day. You can do that. There's no set pattern. Everybody's Camino is their own. In fact, it says on this is for our national event we're going to have in April. It says, walk your way. So walk your way. You don't have to do it my way or anybody else's way. You walk your way. You can do it here in Elkhart. You can do it in Spain. And there's people from all over the world that do it all their way. But you get gratitude. When you walk the Camino, the gratitude is that you're just grateful to be alive that day. You don't have to make any decisions. Just sometimes at the end of the day, you're grateful for a shower and getting some food and a place to stay. It's simplicity. I mean, it's just getting up, walking, eating, getting up, walking, and eating, thinking, meeting people from around the world, and they're all there on the same mission. I still think this is a Unitarian thing, this Camino. It gives you trust. You meet people from around the world. I think that if we had Putin and Zelensky walk the Camino together, I think we would solve the war. You let go of control. Sometimes the best things that happen to people on the Camino is when things didn't go according to your plan. And you get delightfully surprised. You live in the moment. You forget about the past. You're so far away from it. You know, you're not living for the future. You're just living for the moment. It builds service, community. You know, after we got to the Camino, Liz, you know, I got there with your two brothers, and they both said, "Dad, you're crying," when we got to Santiago. And I says, "Yeah, we wanted to do this, but now it's over." And so 2 weeks after the Camino in church, I'm sitting there saying, okay, I started telling people about the Camino, and after 2 or 3 minutes, they look at me and like, I know my time is up. Just like I know my time is up here just about now. And I thought, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this? This Camino changed my life. It was life transformational. And then I felt, go and spread the gospel of the Camino. And so then I started teaching this class over at Forever Learning. And then I started a group. If anybody wants to hike with our group of people that want to do the Camino, or that just like hiking, or people that have, you know, whatever, you can join our group. Give Janelle your email address. We'll put you on the list, and we have 1 or 2 walks every week, and then we get together afterwards and just have great conversation. So if you want to do that, just let Janelle know your email address, and would be happy to invite you. Then I went to the national gathering, then got on the national board for the American Pilgrims. There's 10 of us on the national board, and brought a national conference to South Bend back in 2021. And we got speakers from around the world, authors, film directors. It was just a great conference. You appreciate nature, culture, history, churches, wine, food. You appreciate your body. You appreciate yourself. You appreciate your family and friends. It's an adventure. You feel comfortable alone. You feel comfortable with strangers from around the world. It builds confidence. It gives you spirituality. It gives you diversity. is so giving. But again, you can do it your way, you can do it here, you can do it there. Janelle, is this a time to do questions and answers? Do the video, yes. We'll do the video, which is, now you'll see this video, and if you go in July and August, there's a lot of young people there because that's when the students are out of school. If you go in this time of the year, in March, April, May, or in September and October, you can go in the winter too, and you'll find many people that are retired and older people that are walking the Camino. So let's take a look at the video. These are young people, but anybody can do this. Why do you walk from one end of the country to the other?
Why would you walk from one side of the country to the other? Why would you walk until your feet are blistered, your knees are about to give out, and your toenails are falling off? I needed space. I needed to be able to feel again. I needed to feel everything, and I was ready to stop distracting myself. I needed to be alone, and I needed to be okay with that. I had to do this on my own and have faith that the signs would lead me the right way. All I needed to do was look out for them and trust that they were going to show up. And they did. And I realized you never have to do this on your own. We walked together, we ate together, we came as we were, and we were seen. We shared stories and secrets and meals and hopes and dreams and sunscreen. We ached and we sweated under that damn summer sun. We opened our hearts and we cried and we swore and we sung and we danced. Our bodies hauled us over mountains, and when we got to the top, we'd look at the horizon and keep going, always toward the ocean. And when it got hard, we'd turn around and look at how far we'd come. We walked in the dark where we could see nothing. We walked and we carried each other in our conversations, and we lightened the load by sharing the heaviness. We laughed. Sometimes we'd walk alone, and sometimes we'd walk together for weeks. And sometimes we walked together just until the next coffee. We stripped ourselves of anything we didn't need. We unloaded our burdens and we placed them in a pile, and we walked away, lighter and stronger, not looking back. Why would you walk from one side of a country to another? Do it to find yourself, and you do it to discover the people you need are on the same path.
That video always gets me. Because on the Camino, and I think in life, it's about finding yourself and finding those you need. And you can do that here. You can do that there. Okay, questions?
I think one of the advantages of being in a place we don't know is that we're less likely to be distracted by what we maybe don't need, and we're very focused on what we do. And so we learn more about what that is.
Hi, Tom. I know we've talked about the Camino several times. How many times have you been?
6.
6, okay.
Yeah, going on my 7th this summer.
On the average, how long does it take from, I mean, I know there are different routes you can take and whatever,
Yeah,
but
whatever you want.
how about,
Walk your
how about
way.
you? How about you,
Walk your
though?
way. The first time was a month with my 2 oldest sons. We watched the movie The Way together, and I
Right.
showed it to the family, and my 2 oldest sons said, "Okay, Dad, when are we doing this?" You know? And so we did it, and we still didn't have enough time, so we walked the first half and we biked the second half. Andrew really loved going down the mountains at 70 miles an hour with no guardrails, no middle line or anything like that, just the switchbacks, and he just loved that. But I wouldn't recommend biking it because you go too fast, and the idea is to slow down. And so my other Caminos have been long. One time I had a 1-week vacation left in 2019. I says, okay, with 1 week I'll go and do my favorite part, which is from Saint-Jean, France, to the Alto Pardon outside of Pamplona. In 2021, after the pandemic, they said, oh, there's a flight round trip from Chicago to Madrid for $300 round trip. And I says, oh, I wish I could do that, but they said that no United States people could come in May of 2021. And so then I'm at work and I'm listening to NPR, and they says, oh, the EU just said that they're opening up Europe to Americans on June 6th. June 7th, I was there. I pushed that button. And so with hardly any planning or anything else or preparation, I just went off and did another Camino. And do different routes, too. You can do different routes. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it. Again, you can do it here.
Tom, thank you for your question, why am I here? When I think of that, especially in the context of your message this morning, we're all on a different pilgrimage, and pilgrims has a special meaning to me. Do you remember the Peace Pilgrim that walked the United States and around back in the 60s? I think she died in the 80s, but I had the privilege of meeting her, and that was really cool. But we all have our own, and thank you for reminding us of that. We can make our own pilgrimages.
Wherever it is.
Wherever it is. Thank you.
A pilgrimage is going in a special way to a special place. So you can even say that you did a pilgrimage here today.
Thank you so much for sharing. I have too many questions, so I'll just
We can talk later, too.
Yeah, I'll just pick a couple. But so the Camino is really kind of a process or a concept as opposed to a particular route. I mean, it is a route, but you're doing your Camino is a process. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a process. The Camino is the way in Spain, in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody says buen camino too. So you're saying good way, good life, good way. That's
So it isn't a particular number of miles.
no. Oh, if you want to get a certificate, you have to walk 60 miles
Oh, that's
to
all?
Santiago. Yeah. And there's some people that say I'm only walking 4 or 5 miles a day, and then they take a couple weeks to walk that 60 miles.
Okay.
So anybody can do it.
Yeah, and
And
I
it's cheap too. I mean,
yeah. And I mentioned to you, but a lot of folks here knew Andy. She was a Circe then, but she isn't now. And she did it. She walked the Camino. Yeah.
You know, I really want to thank you for this because I had never heard about this before. And so hearing your story is really awesome. I just got back from a leadership conference with my school. And in that leadership conference, we were talking about who am I and why am I here? and there was a whole entire group of us students that we went walking the hotel lobby, and we were walking in circles, just talking about who we are and why we're here and what we're going to do. And so doing that on Friday and then hearing this today just put chills through my spine. It's just amazing how it circled all through.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was fortunate to walk with like about 15 students from Nazarene College out of Boston area last May, and they sort of befriended me, and it was just marvelous friendship I had with students that were.
Hi. I appreciated your presentation, and it sounds like a wonderful thing to do. I'm not in any condition to do that, but I walk around my neighborhood a lot, and I meet people that I wouldn't meet otherwise if I wasn't out there. One of the things that I didn't hear anybody mention, but for me, that type of a trip, whatever, walk, would also, my thought is, because I'm very tied to nature, is the connection you would have with nature during those walks, especially when you're by yourself and not distracted by other people, because that's what I get out of my walks is, like here, this is what I love about this room, is that I'm here feeling like I'm in the middle of nature, even though I'm indoors, and that's where a lot of my spirituality is. So to walk and see all that beautiful countryside, it has got to be a wonderful thing to do, because I have to connect with nature as well as people.
Yeah, and that thing connecting with nature is a real, you're walking over mountains, you're walking through woods, and Janelle, they say that people that go outside and walk in nature are happier, more optimistic, you sleep better at night, it changes your life.
We're going to let Mike have the last word.
It's actually more of a question. I heard long ago that many Europeans who took the pilgrimage in late Middle Ages or early modern times would then take a surname that meant king in their home language. Do you know if that's true or not?
I don't know if they were made kings, but I'll also tell you that some people were sentenced to the Camino. I'm serious. No, they to get out of jail, they said you can go to jail or you can go walk the Camino. There were rich people that had sinful lives, and they said, if I pay you, so much money, would you walk the Camino and pray for me? And so there were mercenary Caminos that did it for rich people that didn't want to go do it. They also, the king of Asturias, who he got all the people to walk the Camino from his area, and it was a tactical military thing because the Moors were invading Spain at that time. So there's all kinds of reasons and backgrounds. People doing the Camino. There are popes that have done it, kings that have done it. One of the routes over the Pyrenees is the Napoleon route. No, Napoleon wasn't there to do the Camino. Napoleon was there to push the Spaniards farther back and have France take over that part of Spain. So it's there's all kinds, but yeah, sometimes kings. The Templar Knights were there, and so forth. And there's you still see the castles. One thing I should say is that this Camino has changed my life, and that is to have a life more of service. And so 5 years ago, thinking about that, I decided I was asked to become a deacon in the Catholic Church, and went through 5 years of preparation and classes to become a deacon. And every session we got together during the 5 years, we sang a song called the Servant Song, which you heard the piano music for at the beginning of our service.
And now we're going to sing it.
Now we're going to sing it.
After I tell you what my shirt says. I wore the shirt specifically today because in Chinese, this is translated as remember the kindness, repay the kindness. And I thought that sounded perfect for the Camino.
Let's stand if you're willing and able and sing the last song. Sung this many times. Little different words this morning. Yes, she's going to play it through once.
Before the benediction, I just wanted to let you know we have course descriptions of Tom's class on the Camino on the Ivy Island if anyone would like to take one.
So how about if we do this, Janelle, your idea was to do, I do one, then you do one, I do one, you do one? Does that work? Yeah. Then I need a copy of your version that you've got. Well, no, I've got the version that I gave her. So actually, we do this as a ceremony to people that go on walks with us, and then they take in the class, or we've talked about them going, and this is a send-off, and we give them a shell, and putting the shell on their backpack signifies that they are a pilgrim on the Camino, and they have that shell on their backpack the whole way. And back in the pilgrim days, they would bring a shell back from the ocean, proving that they made it there. So but this is the part of the shell ceremony, sending off of pilgrims. Okay. Blessed are you, pilgrim, if you find that the Camino opens your eyes to the unseen.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if what concerns you most is not arriving, but arriving with others.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, when you contemplate the sights of the Camino and find them full of names and of new dawns.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if your backpack empties of things and your heart doesn't know how to feel many emotions.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if you discover that a step backwards to help another is more valuable than 100 forward taken without awareness of those at your side.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if you search for the truth and make of your meaning of life and of your life a Camino.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if on the Camino you meet yourself and make yourself a gift of time without hurry, so that you may not neglect the image of your heart.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, if you find that the Camino is rich with silence, and the silence is rich with prayer, and the prayers are encounters with the Spirit that awaits you.
Blessed art you, pilgrim, when you have no words to give thanks for all the wonders in every nook of the Camino.
Blessed are you, pilgrim, because you have discovered that true Camino gives existence.
Okay, Janelle, I lost. What is the last thing we do here?
Amen and blessed be.
That's it? Why don't you do that? Janelle, I'll give you the privilege.
We just had the benediction, which we shared together after this very meaningful service. Amen and blessed be.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I haver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm working, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's going over to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you.
dum ba dum ba dum.